Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment, and coming back at you again. It's been a little bit time here, but we're going to jump back into our ongoing series of building that perfect album. We made it all the way to 1978, survived 3 years of double albums where, that was like a big task for us, and we finally got a chance to meet again and do 1978, which will only be a single album. Joined today by Rich Strickler. How you doing?
Awesome. How's everybody doing?
And my man Doc, he joined us again.
Well,
yeah, it's been a while, but I'm really glad that we got a chance to jump back in here. So just give everyone a kind of an idea of what we're doing here. We build a perfect album. We got 12 songs that we can pick. The rules involved is you get to pick, now that we're back to single albums, you get to pick one song per album. You can pick a single that was released all by itself if that was the case. I'm not sure I can see that happening in this particular year. And you can also pick deep album cuts if you want, as long as the song came out on the album. Well, the year of the album's release, the song was actually on the album, so you can pick it from there. So that's kind of what we got. I want to remind everyone to please comment, like, subscribe, and check out our other videos. We've got this 1965 all the way through 77 already up. It has Spotify links with all of our playlists on there, so you get a chance to go and listen to those and check out some tunes maybe you're not aware of. Even as much as I listen to music, I always find songs, every time that somebody lists, especially in the comments, that I have to go and look and research and listen to make sure that I actually know the song. So, guys, what did you think putting this list together? We had a little bit of time to do it, so.
I kind of wish it was a double album now, because I had way more than 12 songs that I really would like to have squeezed in here. So
wow.
I'll do a lot of honorable mentions because the 12 songs for me are prime cut, so to speak. So I really like it. Yeah.
Doc?
bang on, Rich. I could have made a double album out of this one myself, easy. Yeah, my honorable mention list is, it's almost like a sheet and a half almost when I first started. So I'm dwindling it down. And late cuts, you know what? Not surprisingly, it's the 70s, man.
Yeah.
A lot of great music to choose from. Personal taste, again, are going to come out again and stuff like that. You mentioned, Brian, in your opening, learning different songs and hearing different songs and reading people's comments about different songs that, I haven't heard of or, I'm going to go check out and stuff like that. It's opened up some different things for me. Not all hit and stuff like that, but I give them a go. So, and that's even with lists that you guys have. So that's not that I know everything you guys mentioned too, and it's probably vice versa, I'm sure, in some cases as well. So I think it's very diverse and it's good.
I'm a little bit, I guess mine was a little bit different. I mean, I could have made two albums, but honestly, it would have been from a lot of the same albums. That's kind of where I would have been coming from. I thought 1978 overall, as far as album quality, was kind of down. I guess maybe I'm not into disco enough to be able to draw on some other things. But I thought it was kind of a down year. Not as bad as 74.
No, it was the second worst. Second worst we've done. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like
second weakest, I would say.
I agree. Yeah.
So the order today, Doc, this is not your year, but you drew the short straw on this one, buddy. You got to lead us off, and then Rich is going to follow, and then I'll about to clean up this particular year. So lead us off, Doc.
I guess here we go with 78, eh? So yeah, pretty tough to do actually, and then the narrowing down, some stood out for me on easy picks and some did, but I guess we'll find that as we go, right? So I'm gonna start off with the Who, guys. The Who Are You is gonna open up my album in 78. What I did do is singles and stuff like that. I think you guys know I'm a pretty big Who fan, so I wanted a few tunes in here, but I didn't do it, so I just held off to the one. So because there's only 12 songs. So, but Who Are You is one of the bigger songs from them. And it's a staple in their catalog, and it's there for a reason. Townsend is, I don't want to harp on it, he's underrated, but the riffs and the sounds and Who Are You, the adultery screaming and, Who Are You and everything else in the song and stuff like that. Real good vibe to this too. It's a great rock and roll song in 78. That's what this is. Really tough call for me not to take Sister Disco off this album. I'll tell you that right now, because I love that song. So, but Who Are You is my lead. Follow that up with Stixx Renegade, man. It's going to come in at number 2. So, What a great rock song from Stixx, man. This is what this is. This is it sounds so fantastic, you know, just the storytelling at the beginning of the song, and then it breaks right into the drop and stuff like that. It's Renegade's just a rock tune from really Stixx at this time. You know, maybe outside their comfort zone in one sense, you know, because it's got a different. This doesn't sound like a Stixx song in some senses, but it is. Just sounds fantastic. You know, Shaw sounds great. And I just love everything about that tune, man. To be honest. You know, oh man, and just that storytelling from the gallows all the way down, right? So it's right. Renegade's gonna follow up my "Who Are You." Here comes Van Halen at number 3. Big shocker, debut album from them. It's a fantastic debut album for a rock band, man. You know, it's a heavier sound and stuff like that. But this is Van Halen coming in. They come in pretty strong, man. Running with the Devil's gonna come in at number 3 for me, man. Lots of songs to take off of here, man. But Running with the Devil is just a tad above, I guess. It's my favorite track off their opening album, if you want the truth. And it's another song that's been with me my whole life, man. You know, pretty much. You know, when I'm starting to listen to heavier music or this type of genre, this is what I'm listening to. I'm listening to Running with the Devil and stuff like that. Ross sounds fantastic. Eddie's Eddie, man. You know, the band's really tight, and this is early in their career, so these guys have talent, man. And you know, like it or love it, you know, Eddie gets mixed into the best guitarist of all time kind of conversations all the time. He is one of the best guitarists of all time, man. That's what it is. He was an innovator, and you could see that right away. And I think that's one of the standouts for even Van Halen at this time as it moves along. Follow up, Running with the Devil with, man, I never thought I'd do this. The Ramones again. I Want to Be Sedated coming in at number 4.
All right.
Yeah. A classic Ramones tune, you know. Give me 2.5 minutes of your life and I'll finish a song. So, but that's just the, you know, there's, you know, that 24 hours ago. I mean, it's always, listen, if I just said that to you now, it's probably in your head for the next 4 days. Sorry, but it is. But it's the Ramones. They have a really catchy one on this one, and it's like I said, I'm not the biggest Ramone fan. I've said that previously on a different one, but I do like some stuff, and this is another one that I really do like. And like I said, at 78, there's a lot of really good tunes, but I'm going to take this one with me on my list. So try to spread the love. Man, you guys know I like these guys maybe now. So I'm coming back in with April Wine's Roller right after this one, man. Another classic 70s rock song from these guys. They were pumping it out up here in Canada, I can tell you that much. And it's a chart topper. Roller's a real rock song in the 70s. That's what it is. A little heavier in one sense, three guitars going and stuff like this, but groovy guitars, really groovy sounding rock song is what this is. So Roller gonna be my number 5 on the side, man. How do I finish side A in 78? Man, I had a really tough time with this tune, actually. So it's going to be Joe Walsh. Life's Been Good, man. To finish off my side A. Storytelling from Joe. This is Joe kind of almost like, obviously, I think, peak solo. Yeah. And it's another one of these tunes that has kind of like just been with me, man. I just always loved the song, just the sound of it. You think about the guitar and the way he goes, and he's not really singing, and he's singing and stuff like this, right? The whole song, which is what the song is, which is fine with me. I like that sometimes a lot. So, but Life's Been Good. Just one that I'll probably have my whole life, actually, if you want the truth. It's just a song that I'll never have a problem listening to, and it's just a classic rock song, I think, from 78. Gonna make my tunes, man.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there is no surprise there. The Ramones may have been like a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Considering we're only going with one album. I didn't know if you would throw some punk on there, but the rest of it, that's no surprise at all. I mean, you started right out with the Who.
Yeah.
Just stayed right on the Doc path the rest of the way. Great.
Yeah, I think this will show that in 78. Actually, I'm going to be right on the Doc path in 78.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one of those tunes on my album, and 3 others are honorable mentions. So,
Are they?
I like 4 of the 6. I'm not an April Wine guy because they weren't given a lot of play down here in the States compared to Canada. Yeah. And the Ramones, I like that song, but I didn't put any Ramones on my list or my honorable mentions because it's not my vibe. But I like that song. I do like that song.
Cool.
I like the Styx song a lot, and Joe Walsh, of course, you can't go wrong. The Who, and of course Van Halen. That's the best song off that album for me too.
Yeah.
The spoken word songs don't bother me. I mean, there's a place for those things too in classic rock. So didn't bother me.
I agree.
Walsh. Yeah.
That's good to hear, actually. 4 to 6, Rich. That's pretty impressive considering all the mentions and hits and stuff like that. That's not that bad.
All I know is, we're 12 years apart in age, but you're digging the same stuff I am from 1978. So that's pretty good.
Big time. That's pretty cool, actually. Sure.
Yeah.
I guess I would. So sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to jump into side B here, or the second side of 78, if you want.
Yeah.
See how this goes. Maybe this will hit maybe some more sweet spots. I don't know. Let's see. But Seeger's going to start off 78 on my side B here, so it's Hollywood Nights for me. Lots of great songs. This is his best album to me. I have a lot of songs on here I really like. So, but Hollywood Nights is, it's right there with Night Moves, man. It's I can almost flip a coin sometimes on which one I like better and stuff. I think it's fantastic. So this is number 2 or vice. Love that Seeger sound in 78 here, man. Or even into the early 80s. It's fantastic. Yeah. Sweet guitar. And Seeger at his peak here, man, for a 5 or 7 year run, putting out some tunes and stuff like that is really, really top notch kind of stuff, man. So Hollywood Nights is going to start off my side B, man. I'm going to follow that up with Cheap Trick's Surrender, coming in at number 2. I don't know, man. I remember hearing this song as a kid, and it's one of those ones that I love the song, man. You hear it in movies, you hear it in different scenes and stuff like that. It's road time and stuff like that. It's always been so personal to me. It's like, oh, yeah, now you guys are putting it in movies, man. That's my tune. I love that tune, man. I can't wait for that. It's like almost like Surrender has always been, my favorite Cheap Trick tune. That's for sure. Great storytelling, just for whatever it is and stuff like that. My parents are hippies and watch out for the diseases and stuff like this. References of Kiss, listening to Kiss records and stuff like that. But Kiss was a big backer of Cheap Trick in the early days too. So love that tune from Cheap Trick, man. It's gonna be my second one in. Another one that it's either hit or miss with some people, I think. So a lot of people love this song, and a lot of people, this could be gender oriented. I don't even know how this goes, but Werewolves in London, man, is my third one in for more. So I find not a lot of women love this song, but I think a lot of guys love this song. So I don't know why. Maybe they can't picture a werewolf with a Chinese menu. I don't know. So maybe a lot of guys can, I guess, right? It is 1978, so and here it is, another obviously it's another little talk song almost that's going on here with Warren and stuff like that. But once again, like Brian mentioned, there's spots for it. And here's another good sweet spot for this one, man. Just messed up storytelling of that Warren's going through here, but catchy as hell. Great piano, catchy little bass in the background, man. It's a great rock tune, man. This is a classic song. I love this tune. So that's coming in number 3 for me, man. Gonna follow that up with Dire Straits and the Sultans Swing, man. So, you think about that tune with Knopfler on guitar, right? It's the guitar in that tune is almost like second to none, man. That's how you do some picking rock guitar, man, in a song. Knopfler's in general pretty underrated in some senses. I think he doesn't get a lot of love throughout the time, but I think inside the industry, I think he's like really, really well respected by a lot of his peers and stuff like that. I think on a lot of levels that they would be happy if he showed up and on his album and helped them out with stuff. So I think he's kind of like that level kind of guy. Maybe not in the masses, but and he hits on some stuff, and he does later on in life too, with some big hits and stuff like that. Not that they're all awesome, but he does have his sweet spots where he had some more success. But this is their best tune, Sultan to Swing, to me, and just an adventure of a song, actually, if you want the truth. It's a great tune.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to the real groovy tune of Heart, Straight On, to follow that up, man. Just almost like a different sound for Heart, man. Almost like, but not really, but it's more of a bluesiest, real groovy kind of, this isn't, this isn't Barracuda or something like this, man. This has a different vibe to it. Straight On's, and it sounds awesome, man. This sounds fantastic. And I just love the groove of that tune, man. I don't know how else to say that. It's a little slower, little catchy riffs, and, you're just into it. It's like a bluesiest, kind of laid back, really catchy Heart tune, man. And it's going to make my top 12. Now, how can I not have a song from this band to end my side here? This is, we can debate all we want, but it's, to me, it's a real top tier debut album of a band. So I'm dropping the Cars in here, and it's going to be a matter of what song. We all might have a Cars song. I'm guessing their name, but they have 8 songs on this album that any one of us could have picked. So it's always one I keep going back to, man. Mine's Bye Bye Love.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Feels a little deeper there. That feels a little deeper.
It's not just what you needed, or it's not, Real I Got Tonight or anything else like that, all mixed up,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love them all, but this just is the one that Ed Moore can sing, man. I just love that dude's voice. This is the Cars, man. This is different, especially in '78 here. We haven't heard anything like this before. Previous to this was different. This was a different sound. You can see where they're going. Loved where they were going here. I think they have a great run here for another 3-4 years where they drop in some really good tunes, good albums. Nothing like this, mind you, but how many have like this? This is a classic debut to a band that has a little bit of staying power, a little bit underrated in some schemes, but they have a really, really sweet spot, and it hits with me on a lot of levels. So Bye Bye Love is going to end my album.
Nice. I've said multiple times that I could pull the album cover to their debut into my graphics program and make a greatest hits logo and put it back on there and publish it, and nobody would argue with it.
No.
Nobody would argue with that.
No.
That's how good that debut is for them. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we did even better on that side. We went 6 for 6.
Wow.
Sorry?
You said 6 for 6.
6 for 6.
Are
Yeah.
you serious?
The other thing I wanted to say,
I had 1 on my list and 5 honorable mentions. 6 for 6.
Oh my God.
Swear to God.
The other thing I wanted to say real quick, Doc, was the Sultans of Swing. This is what I take from it. I love Mark Knopfler. I mean, maybe one of the most recognizable guitar players. 5 seconds into a song, it's Mark Knopfler. He found a way with Sultans of Swing to have a 5-minute guitar solo, because between every verse, there's a different transition that's being played, not the same transition. And sometimes he's a little bit creative and sometimes he plays it straight, but he found a way to have a guitar solo throughout the whole song. And I like his stuff. I think he's, most of his songs are really tightly constructed and his guitar playing's tight. So I like it.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
That was really cool. So far, Doc and I have 2 matches and 8 honorable mentions. And if we had a double album in this year, we probably would have had 7 or 8 hits.
Matches. Yeah.
Because
I'm going to pull a Doc and say, I'm not saying anything.
All right. I shouldn't say anything either. I should let it play out.
Awesome, buddy.
But
Cool.
really cool.
All right, Rich.
All right. Well, I'm going to start it off the same way Doc did. My lead-off track is "Who Are You" by The Who.
Fantastic.
I think it kicks off this album really strong. It's got that attitude that The Who brings, that fist in the air kind of rocker, tell me who are you? They're screaming and pointing. And it's the last album they made with Keith Moon. He died 3 weeks after this album was released. So it's kind of a swan song there as far as the original members. Great song. Definitely might be in my top 5 Who songs of all time. I just love everything they bring on that song. So that's kicking it off. Number 2 for me is off the Some Girls album by the Rolling Stones, Beast of Burden.
Yeah.
Love this song. Kind of bluesy, soulful vocal by Mick. Always loved it. I like the whole album, but that's the song I picked off the album. I could have went Faraway Eyes or Shattered or whatever. They had a bunch of songs I like, but I like Beast of Burden. I like the way it flows on this album. My third song is Springsteen's The Promised Land from Darkness on the Edge of Town.
Yeah.
It's got that great harmonica and he's storytelling, and you know, the dogs on Main Street howl because they understand if I can take one moment to my hand. I ain't a boy, no, I'm a man, and I believe in the promised land. I just love that whole vibe, and then he gets into the guitar and so forth. It's just a classic Bruce tune, and again, could have went with 5 or 6 different songs from that album. My fourth track is Warren Zevon, Lawyers, Guns, and Money. That's the one I picked.
Yeah.
I love Werewolves of London too.
Yeah.
But I went with Lawyers, Guns, and Money. I just like the lyrics in that song. This was co-produced by my man Jackson Brown. He's sort of was a mentor to Warren Zevon in those days, an LA singer-songwriter. Kind of a unique songwriter who writes about oddball stuff like Lawyers, Guns, and Money and Werewolves of London. And some of the titles of his songs are very obscure. But that's my fourth track. Number 5, I'm going to slow it down with Journey, a nice soft rock ballad called Lights. Up the city of San Francisco when the lights go on. Yep. Great song. Steve Perry, lead vocal, fantastic. I just wanted to break up the rocking stuff here. And then I'm going to end it with Jerry Rafferty's Baker Street. Quite frankly, my favorite song of that year, believe it or not, from Jerry Rafferty. Kind of a jazzy feel with that saxophone, and from the City to City album, which is a pretty good album. Jerry Rafferty, of course, was with Steelers Wheel, Stuck in the Middle with You fame. He's a Scottish singer-songwriter. And I had to have that on the album, and that's going to end my side one.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Sure it is.
I like it. I mean, I like Baker Street, but it is an honorable mention of mine. I mean, I think that for the same reason. It's got that really jazzy feel to it.
Yeah.
And ironically, it translates into other pure versions too, because I think the Foo Fighters did a cover of that, and it was just purely rock, but it translates just fine. And you do it either way.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a really good job with it. Yeah, I like the pick by Zevon. You didn't go with the traditional one, and you're right. I look at some of the song titles, I'm like, is he just making this stuff up? I mean, it just feels like sometimes you're just going, yeah, is he just picking like stuff out of a hat and then go, oh, I got to fit this in the song somehow.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels like it.
But
yeah, I did like the Baker Street too. It's actually an honorable for me as well. Actually, I have a few late cuts. That was in the, so they say they made the last 5 to 10 kind of thing before I actually got down to it. So it's on the short list, to be honest with you, Rich. I like your Stones. Yeah, Shattered was in that same ballpark for me as being one of the, in that 10 neighborhood late cut kind of thing. But obviously it's a really solid album, Rich. I like it there a lot too. So I'd have no problem hanging out, brother.
Sounds good. Come on over. All right, my side B, I'll kick that off. I'm going to start out with the Police, Roxanne. I like this song. You know, it starts out with doo, 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 doo. It's got that kind of reggae rock, new wave kind of sound off their debut album. Sting, a different voice at that time, and we were used to it now, but when he first came out, you know, kind of a different, it wasn't a traditional rock voice, kind of a high-pitched kind of Roxanne, you know, put on a red light, you know, but I guess it's about prostitutes and stuff over there in the French Quarter or Main Street in France, whatever it is. But that's going to lead off my album. I just wanted to say my second album here is a lot of new wave, a little bit of punk, so to speak. Not traditional punk, but borderline punk and new wave. My second track is One Way or Another by Blondie.
Nice.
This is a commercially successful punk pop tune. Debbie Harry, lead singer, you know, cute, cocktail waitress from Playboy Mansion, and then turned that into a rock career. Came along at the right time, fronted the band Blondie with her, you know, stylistic look and so forth. Very eye-catching, ear-pleasing stuff. My third tune is The Cars, Just What I Needed. I went with the most popular song off that album, or you could say My Best Friend's Girl, or the one Doc picked, which was
Bye Bye Love.
Bye Bye Love, You're All I've Got Tonight. You can go 9 different ways on that. It's greatest hits, basically. So I love the Cars sound. They got the 2 lead singers with Rick Ocasek and Ben Orr, and they alternate who's going to get the lead on each of these tunes. It's catchy. It's just a virtual hit machine. So the Cars were going to be on this album. That's what I went with, just what I needed. My 4th tune is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Listen to Her Heart, off their 2nd album. Very melodic. Listen to her heart. She's going to tell you what to do. She might need a lot of loving, but she don't need you. And he was pointing that at Ike Turner, because Ike Turner was hitting on his wife at a party. And he was that he wrote that song in response to Ike coming on to Mrs. Petty there. Number 5 is a Bruce Springsteen cover, Patti Smith, Because the Night. Yep. Patti Smith was a poet, kind of a hip chick out there in the punk scene. Bruce gave her this song. She actually did a better job than he did on his original.
Yeah.
Didn't make his album. It made some of his releases later, alternate takes and so forth. I still like his version. It was on his live album, but I like the way Patti Smith does the song, and it makes the cut at number 5 for me. And I'm going to end my album, one of Doc's picks, Sultans of Swing by the Dire Straits. Had to be on the album. Great, great song. Mark Knopfler, you guys mentioned his style of guitar playing. It's unique. It's kind of, I don't know what the word would be. You know it when you hear it, kind of iconic sound. Like you could have 10 guitar players playing the same lick, and you know Mark Knopfler. He brings something different to the table than the standard rock guitarist. And his voice is something like a cross between almost Dylan and Lou Reed. He's got a weird kind of voice going on there. They call it pub rock, and you can see him playing that song in a pub with the Sultans. And Brian mentioned the little jams in between the lyrics. You know, they're all different. And then that classic ending where he just takes off and runs with it. So I love that song. So it seems like the first and the 12th songs were the ones Doc had. My bridge here. Who Are You and Sultans of Swing, and in the middle was a bunch of honorable mentions and stuff. But it was fun. Good album.
Yeah, listen, we only hit on 2, but my honorable mention sounds like the rest of your album.
Yeah,
so I don't know. Pretty good.
You're gonna run into everything you guys have been saying. I'm going honorable mention. It's just like those are all songs that I just. Heck, I had like 5 songs by the Cars. I'm sitting there going, I had to pick one, but the other 4 on the honorable mentions list. I mean, that's all you can do, right?
Yeah, I had a hard time, of course, picking one Bruce Springsteen song, one Tom Petty song.
Yeah,
and I left Bob Seger off completely, and that was extremely hard for me to do.
I don't know. How'd you do that, buddy?
I don't know how I did it. It's in my honorable mentions, but I couldn't squeeze him in. And he's one of my favorites.
Wow.
I respect that, actually, Rich, in one sense, because I left somebody off on mine too. That's one of my favorites as well. So that's what I'll explain later.
That's what you run into in these single albums, you know?
Yeah. It's rough. It is rough. And now we're not used to it. We got spoiled again for forever. At least for 3 or 4 weeks here, we were spoiled.
Yeah.
Knowing we had wiggle room and we could throw stuff in there and cut something that was like maybe a B tier song. By comparison to some of our favorite artists.
Yeah, good call, actually, Brian. There's a lot of A's getting cut here.
Yeah, that's what happens, and it's. I went way different than this, and I think we'll get to it. But I think we only got one trifecta when it was done. I think that's true. I mean, but it's not like this other songs weren't in play. I mean, they were in play for a long time. It's just they didn't make the final cut. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll start off mine then. I started off with a Rolling Stones tune. I think I've probably done that like 4 or 5 times for my years. Girls. I know there was some debate about whether this is even it's a disco type of song. I know that Jagger's like adamant that it wasn't, and Keith Richards like, oh yes, it was. I mean, it was like I don't know whether they were in some type of survival mode to try to put out something that sounded disco-esque.
I think so.
It still ended up being a #1 song for them. So I mean, you know, don't split hairs on it. Just, you know, cash the royalty checks and move on. So
yeah.
I put that there. I love that song. I mean, I could have went with Beast of Burden, which is a little bit more bluesy for me, which is, you know, Miss You just edged it out a little bit.
Miss You's an honorable for me, just for the record. Yep.
This one here is kind of a newer song from me. This was like my late addition to it, that I had just recently listened to with a buddy of mine who's really he owns a record store and he's really into music. And he just happened to be playing it. And I was like, oh, I've heard this song, but I haven't heard it since my childhood. And it just so happened to come out in 1978. This is no lie. I've got Driver's Seat by Sniffing the Tears, right?
Sniffing the Tears, yep.
Fantastic song. So many great things going on in it. You know, it's got that weird fluttery keyboard that kind of like dives in there every once in a while. Very much of a drum-driven song, you know.
Yeah.
And I love that, you know, hey. I mean, it's kind of like, it's really progressive, new wave, kind of all mixed together there in parts. And I thought it was such an interesting song.
Yeah.
I definitely put it on here for that reason. Number 3 for me, I've got Pump It Up, Elvis Costello.
Yep.
Probably maybe his most well-known tune, at least in the top 3, I got to imagine anyway. You know, what an upbeat song. I mean, you throw that on there, people immediately recognize it. It's been in a ton of soundtracks. You know, it's got that pulsing keyboard, like dan, 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 and it's just driving you the whole time. Very upbeat song, very cool. Love it. I'm a big fan of Costello. So number 4, I went with Good Times Roll from the Cars. Like I said, I had like 5 songs in play here, and this one I kind of like a little bit more. You know, O'Kasic's voice kind of resonates a little bit more with me than Orr's does, I think. And I wanted to go with one of his tunes for sure. You know, it's very, 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 very gritty kind of song too, in a way. So I liked it. Number 5, no surprise here. This is our trifecta. It's Sultans of Swing. Like I mentioned before, Knopfler, immediately recognizable guitar. You know, very underrated in a lot of ways. He tightly constructs his guitars, you know, riffs and solos, and it's got this very I don't know, like Rich said, it's hard to like kind of pin down what that sound is, but it's you know, maybe pub's probably the best thing for it. I mean, maybe that's the best way to describe it anyway.
Yeah, it was.
You know, lounge type of guitar play maybe is, you know, another way to describe it.
Yep.
But great song, deserved to be here in the 1978. I'm glad it was on all 3 of our lists. Closing out side 1, maybe a surprise for you guys. I've got the self-titled track from Willie Nelson's Stardust. You know, kind of surprising that I kind of got into Willie Nelson over the last year or so, but his albums during this late 70s span were actually very good. And Willie would, you know, he'd be on a run here in the early 80s too if I really was a diehard Willie Nelson fan. But this is actually, I mean, you listen to the song, it doesn't sound like a country song. It sounds like a ballad that could have been done by a rock band. It's just that he has such a unique voice. You know, the twanginess kind of comes out in some of the frames and stuff. But I love Willie. This album's great. So I put a song by it.
Very cool. Yep. Good for you. Sounds like Brian's side to me, man. That's for sure. Obviously, the Sultans is a nice hit too.
I'm glad we all had Sultans of Swing. That's a landmark song for that year.
Yeah,
for sure.
This felt like it had to go.
And we all had our cars in there too to boot.
Cars,
so look at that.
And it's no surprise they're pretty different because that's the way the album is. They're all great.
Right.
We could have had 5 other ones. So that's that's the beauty of that song, like that album that we talked about earlier. That's pretty cool.
And I had a Stone song, you had a Stone song, just different ones. Again, that album you could have went 4 or 5 different directions. Some Girls, there's a lot of good songs on there.
Yep.
Right. Okay, I'll go with side 2 now. Side 2 is kind of the free for all, like it usually is with me.
Yeah.
That's how I knew, like, you know, I said once you guys ran off yours, I knew how many we were going to have, obviously, because I knew my side 2 is usually out. You know, my side 2 is not going to complete a trifecta for us, it seems, ever. So whatever we get for side 1 is what we got. I got Werewolves of London leading it off. Yeah, okay, it's kind of a hokey song in a lot of ways now. It's been played a lot. But I kind of challenge you to play the song in a room, not how people at least go, oh, I mean, they just do it. I mean, and no matter if they like the song a lot or not, they'll do it. They'll make the little werewolf sound to kind of play along with everybody else in the room. And Zevin, it goes on and makes a lot of really good stuff in his latter years too. I encourage people to listen to some of his later material just before he died. He did some fantastic. Ironically, I think the last song on the last album that he did was called "Don't Let Us Get Sick."
Yeah, it's a great song.
Oh, that's such a beautiful
Great
song, and it's like I consider like his swan song. You know, the irony of surrounding that is that, you know, he died short time.
I love that song.
Afterwards, it's a beautiful song. Number 2 for me on this, Peter Gabriel had his Salisbury Hill after he broke up with Genesis, and then Genesis, of course, released, and then there were 3. So I've got Follow You, Follow Me. Kind of, they're starting with this song. I feel like they're starting to bridge that gap between the progressive that they were and kind of the pop that they new wave that they could be. Yep. So I thought this was a good song that I would put on here to kind of transition Genesis heading into the 80s, which is would be a completely different type of Genesis, as we know.
Totally.
It's a good song. Wanted to put it on here. Number 3, maybe my only disco-esque song that, you know, I would say pure disco song that I'm actually going to ever probably include on this list. I've got Hot Chocolate, Everyone's a Winner. You know, it's kind of I like it. I think it's kind of fun. You know, it's a little bit of funk and a little bit of disco and a little bit of rock, you know, with the guitars and stuff. And
that's funny.
It's just, you know, I thought it would be a fun song to put on here and kind of mix in with what I had going. So I wanted to.
I thought you were going to say YMCA for a minute.
No, that is.
We're going to hear something from Greece or something. I don't know, man.
No, even that. I mean, I can tolerate watching Grease, you know, if it's on TV, but man, I would never.
Every song.
Oh, let's go spin Grease on the turntable. Next up, I have Van Halen. I've got Running with the Devil.
Great song.
Fantastic.
Great song.
As my number 4 song here. I know that it seems like, you know, Van Halen 1. I'm almost everybody who's into classic rock will at some point like say, you know, Van Halen 1, one of the best debut albums of all time. I'm not sure whether it's true or not, but I definitely know this album's really strong for Van Halen. I didn't really after 2, I didn't really like some of the subsequent stuff until 1984 came out. But Van Halen 1, powerful stuff, really good jams all the way through. Number 5, this one's kind of a deep cut. I've got Tom Waits' Blue Valentines. You guys know I'm a fan of Tom Waits.
Yeah.
His voice is getting a little bit more mature here. It's not nearly as raspy as some of the early Closing Time and the Saturday Night one that he had and everything. It's getting a little bit more mature, and his songwriting is still great, fantastic stuff. Wanted to include something by him here. And last, closing it off for me is going to be Stixx Renegade. I guess this was on the border here, and it was recorded in late 1978, was released in early 1979. So it's one of those ones where, it was on the album early, and then of course released as a single probably a little bit later. So it's one that could have went on either 78 or 79, but I went ahead and put it on 78 here. I thought it fit a little bit better with what we were doing. So that's my closeout.
Good album considering you had a disco song. I have to say, Follow You, Follow Me was on my original, and I replaced it with the Journey song Lights. I wanted to go with one of those two, and I ended up going with Lights. But I love Follow You, Follow Me. For the new phase of Genesis, you're absolutely right. It's the transition album and song, I think, in a lot of ways. And there's other, Renegade and Running with the Devil easily could have made my list. They're on my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I like that. That's, geez, Brad, not too often that we hit 3 on your B side there, buddy, but we did.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering there for a little bit, but
Running with the Devil, Renegade, and Werewolves. I think we had all that on the one
Werewolves,
side.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's
you
didn't
have Everyone's a Winner as an honorable mention, Rich?
I didn't have any disco as an honorable mention. 0. And I actually like some disco. I would have rather had "I Will Survive" or whatever. I left them all out.
I can't consider "I Will Survive" anymore because of, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
No, I missed it.
Oh yeah, if you watch that and you're watching Guy Pearce and Terrence Stamp and Hugo Weaving all dressed in drag.
That's out of my element. I can't deal with it. I'm sorry.
There's nothing that will change your mind about music in a hurry. Oh, it's great.
That's funny stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, can I run through some honorables real quick?
Yeah, do that. Yeah,
I'll speed through them because I just wanted to emphasize how close I was with you guys in a lot of these songs. "Follow You, Follow Me" by Genesis, "Miss You" by the Stones, "Heart of Glass," the other Blondie song I really like. "Best Friend's Girl," "You're All I've Got Tonight," "Bye Bye Love" by the Cars, "Running with the Devil" Van Halen. I have "Blue Collar Man" and "Renegade" from Styx, "Life's Been Good" Joe Walsh, "Till It Shines" and "Feel Like a Number" by Bob Seger, "Surrender" Cheap Trick, "Hold the Line" Toto, "Honesty" Billy Joel, "Werewolves of London" Warren Zevon, two from Foreigner, "Hot Blooded" and "Double Vision." "Magnet and Steel," a weird song from Walter Egan. "Wheel in the Sky" Journey. "Time Passages" Al Stewart. And then "Straight On" by Heart. And then Bruce, Springsteen, I had "Badlands," "Prove It All Night," "Racing in the Street," "Darkness on the Edge of Town," "How Much I Feel," "Ambrosia," and "Whenever I Call You Friend." Kenny Loggins and Stevie Nicks in a duet. That's it.
That's it? Really?
That's it
for 3 albums, Rich.
I could have really went on. I like a lot of these songs.
Doc, what'd you have?
Man, I'll try to go through them like Rich here. So I don't know. This could be 3 albums too. So I don't know. So "Pump It Up," "Follow You, Follow Me," Baker Street, "Wheel in the Sky," "Rock and Roll Is a Vicious Game," another song from April Wine, "Rock and Roll Dalmatian." I had every song on that friggin' Cars album, man. You guys are ringing them off already. I've got every song written down.
I even list them as just the Cars.
I had "Miss You," "Beast of Burden," and "Shattered" from the Stones.
Yep.
I had "Hot Blooded" as well. I had "Take Me to the River," "Don't
cool.
Look Back," "Sister Disco" by The Who. I mentioned that earlier. I love that song. "New York Groove" by Ace Frehley. "Can't Stand Losing," Roxanne. I had those on there too. I had "Fat Bottom Girls," "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen. And "What a Fool Believes."
Another good one. Doobies.
Wow. I'm going to check out that "Sister Disco" because for some reason it just doesn't click with me. So I gotta go listen to that now.
You'll like the synth on that one. Pete took a long time doing that one.
Good. I had "Who Are You," obviously. I mean, I don't want to list the ones that you guys already listed. I had "Beast of Burden." I had 4 other songs by the Cars. I had "Hollywood Nights" by Bob Seger. I had "Roxanne." All the other stuff you guys have mentioned multiple times. So it's like I think we could have done a double album.
We could have.
It may have got a little thin there at the end because we were limited to 2 by a particular artist, but I bet you we could have done it. We could have done it.
We could have.
Yeah.
We sure could have.
Easy.
You're right there about that one there because I did forget the other Seeger. I had "Still the Same" and "We Got Tonight" and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That album's awesome, man. I love that.
It's a really good album.
I like "Feel Like a Number" and
"Feel Like a Number" I had written down as well. You'd mentioned it earlier, but I had 4 songs written down from that album.
Strong.
All right. Well, that's going to be 1978, everybody. Remember to please like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'd be interested to know what your top 12 were for this particular year. Maybe we didn't feel really strongly about the year as a whole, but still, I mean, I'm always curious about some songs that are out there. Please check out the Spotify list that accompany each one of the years that we have. We have 1965 through 78 up. Until next time, hey, Rich, thank you for joining me, man. I really appreciate it. My buddy Doc down below. And
got it, buddy.
Guys, we'll catch you for 1979, and that'll be the year that closes out the decade before we hit into the 80s. So until next time, hey, take care, everybody.
Bye.